All right, next video. This is just because I want to, I guess, but the horn in these things is not very good, or at least it's not very loud. I have another video on where I changed the horn button, but I've been looking around for a better solution that is a little bit more disruptive than the tiny little honk that you get from the stock horn. So I've been looking around at a couple different options. On my Blue Mini, I think it's called like a Nautilus. It's like an air horn style. It is really loud. I thought about doing that, but it requires like running power to it and a relay and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't really want to mess with all that wiring. So I was trying to find something that was a little more plug and play to the existing wiring. And I figured I'd go this route. These are called Farbin. I don't know, these are kind of cheap. Amazon, I think it was $20. I'll have a link in the description as well as on my website for them. But the reason I got them is because they should be fairly single wire hookup, and they're yellow. I don't know if they're the exact yellow. In fact, they're not the exact yellow, but they're likely gonna be hidden anyway. I know some people mount them behind their grills, and you can kind of see them through. I'm not really interested in them being seen, but they're pretty hefty. They come with a bracket on each one. Ugh. I'm gonna come out. So yeah, so they come with a bracket on each one. They come with little jumper wires. And I think the intent is I should be able to just put these wires on here and then just wire these ends into my existing wiring. And that's it. I shouldn't need a relay. I shouldn't need any kind of direct battery power, which is that air horn that I was mentioning earlier needed. So I think that's how it works, but there's an HT and a LY. I think it's just pretty much a high and a low tone that together makes what I believe is going to be a really loud sound. We're not going to know until I get it wired up, but so yeah, there's not really any instructions here. But these aren't very thick wires. I'm pretty sure I can just tap these into my existing wires and have a much louder horn. I'm gonna do a decibel test with the current horn before I install this, and then I'll do one after. Because I'm using my phone, I'll probably just do it, take a screenshot, and I'll throw it up on the screen. I don't have any kind of fancy camera rigs where I can film myself with my phone because I'm filming with my phone. So maybe someday I'll go down the actual YouTuber route, but not at the moment anyway. So yeah, these seem like decent quality. Again, they're just horns. There's not much to them. But I thought they were cool enough that even if they're not in plain view, they'll be visible enough under the hood. I also actually have matching spray paint. So I don't know if I have that much interest, but I could, this cover is just screwed on with a screw and a bolt, it looks like. I could take these off and paint them to match. I don't know if I care that much. It's gonna depend on where they are. If they're seen, I might do that. But what I wouldn't mind doing is finding a place, maybe inside the wheel wells, maybe side by side, maybe even if they're mounted, using that same hole, something like that. I don't know. I got to play around with that. So we're going to pop the hood, poke around, figure out what might be a good place for them, and get them installed. So now it's a matter of trying to figure out where to mount these things. So I've been looking around, trying to figure out like what might be a good idea. The old one is sitting right here. You can kind of see that circle right there. That's the old one. So I can just tap off that wiring. I might even just leave it there. And I was thinking, like, do I make some kind of bracket where I can like set them behind the headlights? You know, I could probably, there's a bar that runs right here and right here that I could probably mount to. But the problem is when you do that, I mean, I say problem, I don't love it, is you can end up seeing, see if I can show you, you can end up seeing it through the grill. Some people like that look. I don't really care for my horn to be seen. So I think what I'm gonna do is there's a couple screws back here that I think I can just pop out and bend the brackets. And then these can sit right back there, side by side. And if I do it right, you won't even see them. So we're gonna see if that works. I like it in theory, because I like it being tucked out of the way. I might be able to do it where they stand up and go this way. Well, no, because you can see them again. So I could lay them flat, but I would like them to face front. I think if I could get them right there, that'd be perfect. So I've got to play around with this. I don't want to, there's lines back there that I don't really want to mess with, so I might have to put some spacers in there. Just so they don't touch that, whatever that line is. I don't know if it's a coolant line or a AC line. So I don't know. I'm going to keep poking around. That might not be the best idea, but that's the hard part, is I'm just not sure where I'm going to put them. I tested them and I can tell you they're pretty loud. So it seems like somewhere in this area makes sense. I regret them being yellow. I might take those lids off and slide it up in there and see what it looks like if it's just black and then you don't see them. So maybe let's try that. Okay, I think I have it figured out. So took off the front license plate. And instead of going over the top, where I would, be putting, some wear on those lines, I was able to go underneath between kind of the metal bracket. So it's kind of hard to see, but like there's a bracket down there and then there's the metal plate. So I was able to slide something there. I actually 3D printed it's not focusing for me, a bracket that it's a little sturdier. These were flimsy. So as I put it in there, it was just kind of like sagging, but as you can see, this has a little bit of bounce to it, but nothing that I'll hear, nothing that'll bother me. I'm thinking I might extend this bottom down a little further to give it some support. But I think that's gonna be pretty sturdy. I printed it in a carbon fiber PET G, which I think will last pretty good. And all I gotta do is tighten that up a little bit, and I think this might do the trick. So I've got to get the other bracket printed, and I'll put it on this side. And they'll sit really close together, side by side, and then the license plate will cover them up, and you won't even know they're there. So that's the plan. I'm pretty happy with it. I'll wire it up here in a second and go from there. So a little redesign on my brackets. I don't know what I did with them. I think they're over here. Nope, not there. Not there. Oh, right here. So a little redesign on my brackets, and I didn't really get to show them to you because I had already installed it, but you can see this just slots in between the plate and I think it's the bumper. And then I can just run the back of the horn in there with the screw, and I can go either way, but you can see it kind of just sits right under there. Once I take that screw out, I'll be able to slot that right in there between this mounting point here, and then there's a screw up here on the back side that will go through this hole here, and it'll hold them nice. So I'm gonna pull this one off because I think this one's a little bit better of a bracket than the first one. The first one was more of a test fit. And put it back on. I mentioned it earlier and I failed to follow up, but I did take this cover off, thinking like maybe I could put it back here and have it be black and you wouldn't see it. But it kind of needs this cover. It's got like a metal plate and like a paper gasket that I assume is just more for not making rattling noises when the horn goes off, but it just didn't work. I did take all these out. There's a nut on the backside and it was kind of a pain, but realized it wasn't going to work. The other option is I could paint it, or if you could do what I probably should have done, you can order these in black. I ordered yellow because I thought it would be cool to match the car. It doesn't match, which I should have known. And again, I think I mentioned earlier, I could paint it, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to keep them hidden. But yeah, the back of these have, you know, just a typical wiring. So I think I'm gonna run a jumper between from this one to this one, and then I'll run power off of this into the main horn, which is sitting right up here. So I should be able to just unplug those, tap new wires in, and be good. So we're gonna do that and see how it works out. Okay, that was a little trickier than I planned. It actually looks kind of cool, right? I'm still gonna block it with my license plate, but I was, one of these screws that I was planning to work or to mount to was stripped, so I had to drill it out, all that good stuff, but I got it. All drilled out, new screws in, wiring's done. I jumped positive, negative from here to here, and then directly from the old horn from there to here. So it's all running on the same circuit. Printed my new brackets that have a little bit of an upgrade in them. Yeah, there we go. So I put a little bit of a thicker pad on them so they had a place to rest. I mean, these things are surprisingly on there. Hopefully they hold, right? It's just 3D printed plastic. It is carbon fiber, PETG. So my hope is that we'll get, you know, again, these aren't high touch. The vibrations over time, we'll see how they hold up. But yeah, and it, you know, if I just press my horn, they work. And it's loud. Oh, wait. That doesn't sound right. Let me try that again. Slight change of plans. Doesn't look that different, but they are tucked up a little higher now. I was having an issue with these brackets that I made. They just weren't holding up. And anytime I'd go to adjust them at all, they'd snap. So you can kind of see my broken pieces. So all I did was take the brackets that it came with like a handful of these, and I stuck it in my vise. Sorry for the bad video. And then I just went boink, bent it over, and I mounted them that way. So same concept, still slid in between. I used 2 of them, so it was a little more sturdy. As you can see, pretty sturdy. And like I said, it's loud. So I think what was happening before when it was not really sounding right was I had the bolts too tight, and it was kind of putting pressure on the horn itself, and it was just kind of muting itself out. I guess, I don't know why it was doing it, but now it's really loud. So it's working, it's loud, it's ear piercing, which is what I wanted, because I just didn't think the stock horn was loud enough for people to see me coming, or hear me coming, I guess. So that's it. Throw this license plate back on here real quick. Show you what it would look like all tucked away where you can't even see it. And it'll be job done. Okay, so there's my screwdriver. There it is. I think these are just plastic screws, so I don't want to over tighten them. or they just have plastic caps on them. I can't really tell, but they're definitely not metal caps because they're super easy to strip out. But there you go. I mean, you can't even see that horn back there, which is what I wanted. I wanted it tucked away. So what should have been a pretty straightforward, easy job. If you go to the side, you can kind of see it sitting back there, but hardly though. But anyway, what I thought was going to be a super easy job to just take those screws out, mount it. It's a little bit more than I wanted, but it's done. It's loud as hell, and I think it's doing the job. So yeah, I need to do a second sound check. I'll throw it up on the screen when I do it. I'm afraid I'm gonna be too loud right now. I don't know. But anyway, I'll throw it up on the screen. I've done the old horn, and then I'll do the new horn with a decibel reader and kind of show you the comparison of the sound. But yeah, that's it. Depending on where you need to mount it, it's a pretty easy job. But outside of that, the wiring straightforward, nothing too fancy. You can just use the brackets it came with and just bend them. I did put a little strip of foam on the back side of the bumper. I've got a bunch of this stuff that I used when I did my rear wing spoiler. And so I just put a strip on the back side of that tube. You can't see it. Just in case those things want to hit, they won't rattle. They'll just hit the foam. Won't be noisy. More of a safety, or not safety, but just in case, because it'd be really annoying if it did. But yeah, that's it. That's the job. Hope you enjoyed the video. See ya.